They called it the Killer Mountain, and still they came. Year after year, through avalanches and loss, chasing a summit that refused to let them go.
It's 2:20 a.m. I'm still buried in the Himalayan Club Journals, century-old field notes from the Himalayas. It's like diving deep into the documented history of the Himalayas from the early 1900s. The journals cover everything, from indigenous wisdom, cultural myths, to epic expeditions and groundbreaking discoveries. These forgotten stories are brought to life by synthetic voices in the Himalayan Journals podcast. Subscribe, zone out, binge, and pass it to a fellow mountain junkie.
What drove the climbers back to Nanga Parbat after loss and storm, after avalanches and long retreats? Paul Bauer set the stage plainly. The early Kangchenjunga journeys in 1929 and 1931 began as a quiet fellowship of 8 friends, each committing without fanfare, each returning to ordinary work after the climb, yet carrying a new resolve to go again. That resolve met a hard turn. In 1932, Willie Merkl led an attempt on Nanga Parbat, then returned in 1934 with wider backing. From 7 to 14 July 1934, a blizzard below the Silver Saddle killed 6 of the best porters and 3 mountaineers. It broke everything, and the work had to begin again. Bauer joined Bechtold, helped found the German Himalaya Fund, and set Kangchenjunga aside to focus on Nanga Parbat. The plan shifted again in 1937 when an avalanche at Camp 4 buried Wien, Gottner, Hepp, Hartmann, Fankhauser, Pfeffer, Milritter, and 9 Sherpas. The banner passed back to the older hands. In 1938, Bauer and Bechtold returned to Nanga Parbat with Luft, the only survivor from 1937. Recruiting high porters was difficult. Stories in Darjeeling of evil spirits made veterans refuse. With help from the Himalayan Club in Nursang, Bauer gathered 10 young Sherpas and Bhutias. Only Pinzok matched the achievements of the best of the old guard. The 1938 party grew larger than first planned. Besides Bauer, Bechtold, and Luft, there were Klingensberg, Rebic, Ruths, Schmaderer, and Zuck, with Ebermann for radio, who could also climb, and Dr. Balk for physiological work. English friends Major Haddo and Flight Lieutenant McKenna joined. A Ju-52 from the Aero Club of Germany, flown by Alexander Thonis, was tasked to drop loads near Camp 4 at about 6,200 meters, and by Camp 8 at about 7,600 meters. A double supply line covered failure, one routed to Srinagar for airdrops, one moved by porters to the Ferry Glade. Radio links were set for Srinagar, base, and the mountain. Bad luck started early. On 13th May, the Ju-52 force landed at Tadaja after a sandstorm, but repairs and a move to the Maharaja's aerodrome at Srinagar followed. The climbers marched by the Kagan Valley, reached the Ferry Glade on 31st May, and with fine early June weather, pushed loads to Camp Wahuana and studied the dangerous glacier route to Camp 2 and 3. The plane made its first drops on 10th June, proving the method. Then snow and cold arrived. From 12th to 14th June, heavy snowfall held the camps. On the 17th of June, Camp 3 was reached, but a new storm sent the party down to base. Forecasts confirmed unsettled conditions. They climbed again from 21st June. Loads were dropped to Camp 4, but worsening weather cut Camp 4 off and forced withdrawals to Camp 3 and Camp 1. By 4th July, most were back at base. A midsummer bonfire at Drexel's grave and short, clear evenings gave little more than pause. On 13th July, a new push began. By 17th July, a storm hit Camp Fay with such force that snow walls had to be built around the tents. Near the Rakyat ice wall, the team found a mummified porter from the 1934 retreat tied to a hand rope. The body, later identified as Pingju Noru, was freed from the ice and buried. On the 20th of July, Bauer and Ribich proved a traverse that avoided the storm-exposed Rakyat Peak. 9 days after leaving Basse, 4 mountaineers and 4 porters crossed below the Moor's Head and reached the ridge where Camp 6 had stood in 1934. There, they found 2 bodies hidden by snow, perfectly preserved. They were Merkl and the porter Gael, close to safety near Camp 6. The team buried them as best as they could and moved the tents beyond the Moor's Head, hoping to reach the Silver Saddle. Weather and soft snow stopped progress. Attempts on 23rd, 24th, and 25th July fell short. Storms forced turnbacks around 7,200 meters, and a midway camp proved impossible. With only 1 fit porter above Camp 4 and the summit party weakened, Bauer ordered retreat on the 27th of July. A 4th assault began at the end of July. Camp 5 was reoccupied on the 3rd of August in deep snow, with an icy wind, slight snowfalls, and tracks erased each day. By 4th August, the summit party still had not set out over the traverse. Time ran out. On the 5th of August, the final retreat began. The camps were evacuated. Later, a violent storm in the Indus Valley confirmed the decision. Bauer asked the final question: why no summit? Weather was decisive, but plans had assumed a fortnight of fine days that never came. After 1934 and 1937, no one could accept another catastrophe. The glacier route to Camp 6 was long, mostly threatened by avalanches, and the ridge to the summit demanded far distances in storm. Luft and Zuck briefly reconnoitered the Diamir side. 10 days after leaving base, the plane overflew the mountain, the camps still visible. When the rocks stood free of snow, a fast ascent might be possible. Which route would it be? A new route would bring new surprises, new experience, and knowledge.